public space, so it's not too busy because it's early, so that should be okay noise-wise. And if you're watching this for the first time, my name is Marianne. I'm the owner and the counsellor at Marianne Hanson Counselling Service. The areas I specialise in, but I also work with other areas, but my main specialist areas are relationships, so I do couples counselling, but also individuals if they're struggling in relationships. I work with anxiety, depression, stress, and also, what else? Yeah, they're the main areas I'd say that are my specialists, and that's where the areas that I've got more training in, the areas where I've worked, got more experience in, but I do work with other areas as well. So couples counselling, it's a tough decision for people to go for couples counselling. There's many people who probably could have benefited from it, but have chosen not to. Sometimes it's fear of what will be uncovered. Sometimes it's cost. Sometimes it's worried that the counsellor will take sides. I've had that a lot where I've worked with an individual and then they've said, well, can you do couples counselling with me and my partner? And I've actually said, even though I wouldn't take sides, I'd work with you both equally. Your partner is probably going to think, because you've built that relationship with me already, that they're going to feel like they're at a disadvantage. So I've always recommended that if someone has individual counselling with a counsellor, they shouldn't probably use the same counsellor to have couples counselling with as well. I'm not saying that's like, there's no like ethical reason why it can't happen. And for some people it's easier because you already know the counsellor, but the partner coming into that is always going to feel a bit like there's a bias because they're going to feel like you've already built that relationship. So another thing that people are fearful of when it comes to couples counselling is a fear that the counsellor will highlight some of the issues, and this will mean that there has to be change that is made. And although people say they want change, and this is with couples or individuals, many people are actually scared of change. And that's why sometimes people can work with counsellors for many, many years and no changes will occur. And they'll always say, oh, it's the counsellor's fault. And in some cases, the counsellor is partly has some responsibility, but in lots of cases, people just don't, they're fearful of change as much as they feel the pain and as much as how bad things are. What's on the other side, because they don't know it, they're more scared of that, of things changing. So I'm just going to give you some reasons or some ideas of why couples counselling can be really beneficial. And the first thing is it can provide clarity to the issues and give you a space to discuss the issues. If you're already struggling with things in your relationship and you've tried everything, you've tried all the approaches that you've seen online, you've bought the books, you've did everything you can do, but nothing's still working, then why not try couples counselling? Thanks for joining. I think it's Freddie. Why not try couples counselling? The thing is, how I do it with my clients is I'll say, book one session with me, and then we'll have just one session and we'll see how that goes. And then from that point, you can then decide on whether you want more sessions. And you can also book in, whether you book in 6, whether you book in, do one session at a time and just keep continuing that. Then it's up to you. But it's up to you. But sorry about the noise. Obviously, I'm in a public space. Then it's up to you. You can just go then one session at a time and keep going. You can book in a block of 6. You can do long-term, short-term. I mean, couple counselling does benefit more when you commit to it. And the commitment might be that you just commit to the 6 weeks, but you do all the tasks that are set and that sort of thing. But when it doesn't work is when people turn up for one session and when it opens up the door to like issues, and then where people are really scared and then they decide, you know what, this is too painful. Couples counsellors can give you homework tasks. That's really beneficial, even individually. Depends how the counsellor works. Now, I'm an integrative counsellor, and what that means is that I use CBT, cognitive behavioural therapy. I use psychodynamic, where you look at the past when it's relevant. You really go back to childhood and you make the links between how you are as an adult. I use attachment theory, where you're looking at your attachment style and how that impacts on your relationships. I use solution focused, where we're looking at the solutions to the problem. Person-centered. I work in lots of different ways. Now, the good thing with that is if you're a couple and there's certain things, whether it's intimacy issues or whether it's communication issues, I tend to set tasks. I'll also use things like communication agreement, so I might send you information about that. I'll also send you information about, things to try like intimacy stuff, role play, all the rest of it, you know. And what's good is that because I feel that the relationship is so important that you build with your clients, whether that's individually or as a couple. To me, if you're as a counsellor, if you cannot build rapport or you can't build relationships with your clients, yeah, it doesn't matter if you sit there and you give them all the strategies in the world. If they don't trust you, or if they don't feel like you're being genuine with them, if they don't feel like you're really engaged and you really care about them, then they're not going to come back to couples counselling. They're just going to, this counsellor just keeps taking our money every week, but I'm not feeling it. So homework tasks are really good. So that's a thing that, you know, is helpful with couples counselling. Another thing is it gives you time to focus on the issues and find resolutions. When you're stuck in these patterns of behaviour as a couple, you know, for many years, I've worked with couples where it's just the bickering. It can be bickering about absolutely everything. So you can be in a situation where you don't even know what you're arguing about anymore. You don't even know what the issue is anymore because it's just been so ongoing for so long. When you sit down in a room where there's no distractions, just you, the counsellor, and the two of you, there's nowhere to hide. There's no escaping. You have to discuss it. And I think for some people, that's what they need. They need to just break from this, like, why are we bickering about who fed the dog? Why are we bickering about socks on the floor? You know, get to the underneath it, get to the roots of it. I can see people joining, but sorry, I can't see. I think it's Leo and Math. I can't see when I'm outdoors for some reason. The lighting isn't good, and so everyone that joins, thank you. So yeah, that's why couples counselling can be useful, because it's like shining a light on the issues, but you can't escape, because too many people are living in the world at the minute where they're escaping from their problems through video games. They're escaping through their problems through drugs and alcohol, through watching TV, through projecting onto other people. You know, whatever it is, they're not facing up to what's going on for them. So when you're living with a partner and you both know that something's not working and you're arguing all the time and you're just not in a good place, coming into a therapy room and having the counsellor give you clarity and giving you time and space to talk about it can help. So another thing is having someone on your side, having someone to mediate. So a good therapist, a good couples therapist, should be able to work with couples and not take sides. Now, unfortunately, there are not always good, as with any profession, there's not always good therapists. And people will say that. You'll go on Facebook and you'll see people saying, oh, my therapist, you know, wasn't very this or wasn't that. And also people on BetterHelp who come to me, they'll say, you're my 5th therapist that I've had, or, you know, I like the way you work, but my therapist before did A, B, and C. I'm not saying I'm perfect either, but a good couples counsellor should be self-aware enough to know that you need to be on the side of both parties. Even if you believe, say you're drawn more towards the woman or the man in the therapy, the minute you point that out, you've lost the other person. And you have to realise that one person might be the one that has suggested couples therapy, but if 2 people don't want to be there and 2 people don't want to engage, then they're not going to come. There's no amount of begging and persuading that is going to make the other person engage. So your role should be to engage. And you're the person coming to couples counselling. When you find that right counsellor and you feel that this person is on my side, she's got the both of us, she is, or he, you know, it could be a male counsellor, they're, you know, they've got us, they really want this to work, they really believe in this, finding resolutions, then that's why couples counselling can really work. Another thing is the counsellor can help you to set firm boundaries around, I've done things like communication agreements with couples where we write down what the issues are around communication. We write down what some of the options are. So an example might be, one person might say, every time we argue, he wants to walk away. And then the other person say, but I want to stay and resolve it and talk about it till we get a solution. The best way to resolve the argument, they'd put it in writing, because I do these communication agreements. I type them up, I get them both to sign them, and I get them to live by that communication agreement. And then if it doesn't work, they come to counselling and they'll talk about why it didn't work. You know, if you've both agreed that when you have an argument, you're going to let the person walk away and you're not going to chase them around every room till they talk, why are you not doing that then? And then we would discuss it again and review it. So the other thing is there's no distractions, as I've said, to get in the way. We live in a world where there's too many distractions. People do not want to just sit and face the problem. And then the problem only gets bigger. And then all of a sudden, the couple ends up breaking up. And then someone says, why has this happened? Well, it's because you haven't addressed any of the issues. So couples counselling will make you, a good counsellor will make you sit and face the issues. They might be upsetting. You know, a lot of people will say, I don't want to go to couples counselling. It's going to make things worse. What I say to people, whether it's couples counselling or individual counselling, of course you're going to feel pain, and of course there's going to be times where you're crying, times where it's just too much, where you'll feel overwhelmed, but that's why you're there. You know, you shouldn't run away from anything in life. I've got people putting things, but I can't see what people are writing, sorry, because the light, literally the screen is so like dark when I'm outdoors. I don't know why. It's probably my phone. So yeah, it's not about saying you don't want to face pain, you don't want to face the hurt, you don't want to look at the pain, difficult emotions. It's saying that you're going to do that anyway, but you're going to work through it with the counsellor. It's saying, you know, you recognise this is going to be tough, but you're still going to do it. So the other thing is, for some couples, it can highlight the things they don't want to change or they've been avoiding. Now, this is a major reason lots of couples stay clear of couples counselling, because they don't want a counsellor to highlight, oh, well, maybe it is you who's the problem. Maybe it is because of your communication. Maybe this, maybe that. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it. I know so many people who the idea of couples counselling, it would be like, are you correct? I'm not sitting in a room where someone like tells me what I'm doing wrong, or I'm not. In fact, the counsellor wouldn't do that. It would come out anyway in the session. Clearly see from session one, these are bigger issues. These are deeper issues. This is going to take like a lifetime of work, and you do your best, and you're trying to be. The reason our relationship is at work. The reason is because it's you that hasn't changed. It's you that hasn't put the effort in to make the changes. So many people will avoid couples counselling for that reason. They don't want the issue. You're going to engage, and you decide you're going to make the effort to turn up. You're going to make the effort to counselling. I've been in all types of. I've probably worked with over 100 couples. I've had couples who've left the room halfway through, and when I was doing them face to face, and I've had to go and coax them back into the room. I've had couples that just say, right, I want a divorce, and then they've just got up and it's just been like a shock. I've had couples where they've been really engaged in the sessions, others where they've just don't want to talk about certain things, look at their partner as if to say, don't go there. Control issues where you can't continue with the work. You know, we're not allowed to continue with the work when that's present. So there's all types of different types of couples. So the answer really is yes, it can work, and no, it won't make things worse. If it highlights things that are already going wrong, then all it will mean is you'll be in the exact same position you were in. But I don't think it can make things any worse, because things are already bad as they are, or you wouldn't be coming for couples counselling in the first place. So yes, that's my opinion, but what do you guys think? Can couples counselling work, or does it make things worse? Have you ever been for couples counselling yourself? Leave in the comments. Thank you everyone that's joined on the live stream, and I will check the comments afterwards, and I can't even find the button to switch the live stream off. There it is. I don't know what it is. It's either my screen is really needs to be cleaned, or